Welcome to the G3X podcast, where it's God Gym Grind Unfiltered. This is episode 34 of the podcast, and super excited. Our special guest today here is Clarissa. Clarissa, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great. Super excited to have you. For the audience watching, Clarissa, I connected with her, of course, through Instagram, through social media. We're actually both ambassadors of Applied Nutrition, which is a supplement company. You know, I love their pre-workouts. I love their proteins. And she's also one of the ambassadors there. So we're all connected, and I saw her content and saw everything she was doing. I'm like, hey, I would love to really have you on a podcast episode, just share your journey, what got you into fitness, your goals and ambitions. And she's like, heck yeah, let's do it. And here we are now, right? And so, Clarissa, though, let me not steal your thunder. Feel free to introduce yourself to the audience who might not know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and we take it from there.
So I am from Indiana. I'm on the south side of Indianapolis, and I do business development. When I'm not in the gym, I'm out selling stuff. So I work for a civil engineering firm in
Nice.
Indiana.
Okay, nice. Okay, there you go. There you go. Nice. So we both have a bit of some business background there too, as well. So like business, gym, fitness, grind. I like that. I like that. No, but for sure. But Clarissa, I know you have an amazing story. It's going to be a fun story to share. I know it can help inspire others. I do have one of our core, let's say, principles here at the G3X podcast is that your story can impact and inspire others, right? We've all been through different experiences. We've all experienced different challenges and obstacles in life, but yet here we are now. And sometimes I'd say people in their own journey in life sometimes feel like it's just them going through that process or just them going through that mental battle, only to know that, hey, there's maybe other people that have gone through that same thing and they connect with that and like, hey, you've been through that same thing I've been through. I thought I couldn't do it, but you overpassed it, you overcame, right? So that's what we want to focus on for today's episode, sharing your journey, things you've been through. One of the things that really caught my eye there on the forum that you were filling out was how you mentioned initially, let's say, from hating physical activity to like making it your lifestyle. What was, let's say, that moment, let's say that switch for you that kind of like flip that switch for you from hating physical activity to ultimately making it your lifestyle? Because that's super cool.
Absolutely. So I went from hating the gym. I was the kid in like PE class in like elementary school or middle school that would like find shortcuts for the mile run or fake an injury. Like I did anything to get out of it. I hated running, hated physical activity, but like I did dance. So like I danced for 16 years. I loved that. But I was just running and like trying to be flag football and PE. I was like, no thanks. It wasn't until like college when I graduated and I came home and I like looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, I was disgusted with what I looked like. I went from being like a skinny girl to like kind of like a chunky girl, and I didn't like it. I wanted to do something about it, and like the only way to fix that is get into the gym. It's not just in the gym, but it's in the kitchen too. So it all is a
Right.
like a math formula. It's the kitchen, it's the physical activity, it's calories in, calories out. There's so many components to it. So I kind of like deep dived into it, and I started learning the basics in the gym, and like that's where it starts. And then you can't change overnight. So I started with the gym, and then my diet changed with that. I cut out a lot of bad food, and it was a long process, but I'm happy with the progress I've made since 2021.
Nice. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, now, when you got into the gym too, out of curiosity, was there someone there helping you along, a family member, a friend, or just like YouTube self-taught? How was that process for you? I know, especially a lot of guests I've had in the past too, and it's like their first time in the gym, that like fear of like, oh crap, like what do I do? You see everyone lifting weights or this, you kind of get intimidated by it. Did you ever experience that, or how was your process of like learning those exercises and so forth?
It was a little bit of both. So I had a friend, and her and her fiance, they held me in the gym, taught me the basics, and they're like, just start with this. And then I kind of, started watching videos on my own, and like I would like try new things, and I kind of asked me like, hey, is this the right form? And then like you make friends in the gym. Like I feel like there's like the usual gym people that are always there at the same time, or no matter when you go, they're there, and you just get comfortable around them
Yeah.
and you can ask questions. And that's just how gym culture is. So like I wasn't afraid to walk up to people and ask questions, as long as they looked approachable. I asked questions and kind of learned and educated myself too. So between asking friends and going online, watching videos of people who do this for a living, they kind of figured out myself.
Beautiful. No, I like that, especially when you mentioned asking questions, right? Same thing. I've had past in the guests are like, hey, just ask questions. And I know sometimes it's a little I would say a little nerve
intimidating.
wracking because, hey, I don't know this person. Should I ask them or not? But then you'd be surprised because I've done it myself. Even myself, sometimes I'm a little, hey, that's an interesting exercise. What's that for? I haven't seen that before. And I kind of want to go to the person, but same time, I'm a bit hesitant. But then once you go, you find out, hey, they're super chill. They actually gave you an idea. Next thing you know, you're sparking a conversation about other exercises or other things. And hey, you just made a possible new gym friend. So next time you see him, like, hey, what's up? I tried the exercise. That was actually really good. He's like, right, I told you it was super good. It's like, yeah, it felt amazing. So it's cool how that works as well. But for you in your scenario, then, was there any specific experiences or struggle that, let's say, made the gym therefore more than just a place to work out? That it was like, okay, this is like, it made it a way of life for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I went from going to the gym and like trying to get myself in shape, and then I realized like it's good for my mental health, and I grew self confidence, and I became more positive and optimistic, and like your progress shows through your amount of work you put in. So like the more work you put in, the more work you get, it's visible. You can see results, and I realized like it was helping me a lot, and it went from like, oh, I can skip the gym, it won't hurt, to like, no, I want to go every day, and I kind of miss it when I don't go. And I want to go. It's that drive to continuously go and show up, because if you don't show up, you don't go up. Like you don't get results if you don't show up. So that was kind of my flip. Like I need the gym just as much as like I need it for my, mental health.
I like that phrase. You don't go up if if you don't show up. I hadn't heard of that. I actually like that phrase. I'm gonna use that for future episodes. I heard it say of Clarissa. I'm gonna put it. No, that's super cool. No, but you're spot on. I mean, I could definitely relate to what you're saying. That once you start going more to the gym, you start seeing maybe your own changes, your own growth. Like you said, you start feeling a little bit more confident. Maybe you start just feeling a little bit better about yourself, right? You're not maybe as tired or drowsy, depending on each person, but you feel better for sure. No doubt you feel better in
Absolutely.
some way, shape, or form. And you kind of don't want to like lose that. You're like, hey, I don't want to go back to that feeling of before, of maybe like kind of like a like couch potato or something. You want to get some movement going, feel like you're doing something. So 100%, I could relate to your story, because same thing for my case is when I got into the gym and starting seeing more of my progress, it was like, hey, you know what? This is actually how more can I go? How more can I challenge myself? This is actually fun. And like you said, getting a little bit more confidence in yourself, just more energy. And it eventually, same thing, from just seeing it as a chore, or like you said, yeah, I'm not really feeling it today. I'm the same way with you. I try to go every day. If it's a rest day, then I'll just go like just do more time on cardio. But okay, I won't lift weights today, but I'm still hitting cardio, doing something. So, or going to the park for
Absolutely.
a run. So there's still some kind of activity, but it definitely becomes just a way of life where you're like, hey, you know what? I want my gym time or some exercise time, right?
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Now, what would you say as well when it comes to, let's say, as we like to say at G3X Fitness, the God Gym grind aspect? We talk a little bit about the gym. I know there's more things that we'll talk about. There's also that grind, like, hey, pushing through, keep pushing forward. I love how you said that mental health aspect as well, how the gym helped you with your mental health. For you, therefore, what would you say like mental health or like mental resilience looks like to you? I know that's related to one of our pillars there of that grind, but what does mental resilience look like to you? And when I say that, not just like, let's say, physically pushing through, which I know is important, but let's say also staying disciplined, when life hits hard and you're not feeling it and so forth. What would that entail for you? What does that look like to you?
We all know that like life, is life, and sometimes, and you may get thrown off course, but it's not, let's say it's the middle of the week and you have a cheat day. Well, don't wait till Sunday. Get back on course on Thursday, and the way my fiance and I do it. We meal prep every Sunday. We prep all of our lunches so that way there's no excuse. You have your lunch prepped. And we weigh out all of our food. We have a smart scale. It's so easy. It can be hard to some people. You just have to put in the work. It literally takes an hour to prep all of our meat. We prep it. We go to the gym. We try to go at 4:30 in the morning before work, so that way we have our evening free and we can do cardio in the evening. So like we work out twice a day, like, and it's just stay into a routine. Don't get off course. If you get off course, don't wait till the next week. Just do it the next day. Like life happens. You may have a cheat meal here or there. You may like not feel good. Like don't be hard on yourself if you're sick. Like don't be like, I have to go work out when I'm sick. Like you're not going to get a good workout in. You're not going to feel your greatest, and you probably will get other people sick. So like that is when you can take a break. Even if you want to do something, go take a walk. Go walk outside. Go sit outside. Breathe in the fresh air. Get some vitamin D. don't push yourself to make yourself more sick, but there's no excuse for, missing or skipping. But, with resiliency, you just get back on course when you have an off day.
No, that's so true. Exactly. We're all humans, right? I know sometimes social media gives that impression, like you see all these content, these like, like, oh, they never miss. They're like perfect. But hey, you don't even know what they're going in their life. You only see what they post. So it's like you can't base off of that. But yeah, 100%, enjoy life. Eat what you want to eat every so often, like you said, have
Yeah.
some balance, give yourself some grace. I would ultimately say definitely give yourself some grace, but at the same time, don't, hey, YOLO, right? You only live once, so you might as well enjoy the beauties of life at the same time, but also have a good balance, not going to the extreme of either or. So I really like how you mentioned that. Now that's super cool, the whole meal prepping aspect that you guys do it. I think that's awesome. Let me ask you the following, because I think this would be cool for anyone listening too as well,
Yeah.
if they have like anyone listening that has a partner as well in a relationship. Let's say from, again, based off of your fitness journey, let's say from being single to now, let's say with your fiance, how have your habits of, let's say, fitness changed, if any? Like, would you say now with, let's say, having a partner and you're both in agreement of that fitness lifestyle makes it, let's say, easier versus maybe before where it was just you managing your own things? Would you also say that if, let's say, maybe your fiance wasn't as deep into fitness, if that would create some maybe conflict or strife? I'm just curious, focusing more on the fitness side of things, of those daily habits, is what I'm trying to ask. Because I know sometimes there's that conversation of like, when you have a partner who's deep into it, or maybe a partner who's not as into it, but it still supports you, or I'd rather just do it myself. So I'm just curious on your perspective on that.
So my habits definitely got better when we got together. So, I mean, I went to the gym 7 days a week before we were together. And then really the whole kitchen and diet came into play when we got together because he's like, you're not going to grow eating, Cheetos on the couch and being a couch potato. Like, you'll see more results if you're taking your creatine, if you're taking your post protein shake, all of these other supplements that go into play. Like, you need those. You need to fuel your body after workout. If you're not eating or hitting your protein goals, you're not going to make gains. I mean, you'll make gains, but they're slower, but like you need to hit those goals. So I definitely think having someone who's supportive and like the same lifestyle as me, if not more disciplined than me, which I totally respect. I want to, be like him. It definitely helps. I feel like if it was on the other spectrum where they didn't support me per se, I'd be like, well, you do you. Like, I'll probably outlive you. Like, peace. I wouldn't change my way. I would still go to the gym, and if they get jealous or hate that, I'd be like, well, this is the lifestyle I want to live. If you want to go to bars, go to bars. If you want to stay out late partying, you go do that. I'll be here. But if you think about it, like people who go to bars and drink alcohol, like they're just poisoning themselves. I mean, no disrespect to anyone who does that. I mean, I'm not saying I won't
Yes,
sip on a high noon or a seltzer at the pool. Like I do too, like it's one of those like
I get you.
they go drink alcohol shots. Us gym junkies, we drink our protein shakes and they stay up late. We'll do
Yeah,
late night gym sessions. So it's a compare and contrast. Like we do similar things, just pick which one you want to do. So they all spend money on cute outfits
right,
going to the
right.
bars. We'll spend it on gym clothes. It's a give and take.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it's like two different lifestyles. So it's two different,
Exactly.
like different actions that you're doing. But I love that. I was gonna say, hey, instead of like they drink their shots, hey, since we're both ambassadors, shout out Applied Nutrition for their Abe shots. They take their alcohol shots. We take our little pre-workout shots
Yeah.
from Abe. I don't know if you tried them, but they're actually super fire. I
They're
have some right now
so
in the fridge,
good. The
actually.
grape soda and the blue raspberry taste like a popsicle. And I got a mixed berry case that just came in the mail yesterday. They're amazing.
Nice. I was gonna say the berry one is the one I like the most of the three ones, of the three flavors. The berry one is the one I like the most. Yeah.
So good.
But no, it's super cool. I love how you said that because yeah, like I have a friend of mine actually. Same thing. Like she goes to the gym pretty much every day, and her family isn't really into the gym. It's just really her. Her mom or dad aren't into the gym or anything of that sort. She's actually also an applied nutrition ambassador there too. Actually, she's been a little quiet lately in the chat because she's been busy. But and so one thing that she'll tell me is that sometimes like her family, they want to get fit, but they don't take action. And when she tells them, "Hey, let's go," they're like, nah. So it's like, well, and it's when you said I'm gonna outlive you, that just made me laugh so much because she said the same thing. Well, I'm gonna outlive you guys then because you guys are doing anything to get healthy, which is crazy. I relate to that. For example, like myself with my family, I've been blessed where I was at least a good influence to my family where they really wouldn't go to the gym and they saw me going all the time. So now they're always go with me. What I'm trying to get them now is like, let's say for whatever reason I don't go that specific day for XYZ reason. It's like, or maybe I'm traveling, like, hey, you guys still go. Like, don't
Exactly.
only go if I go. Like, go even if I'm not there, just go do it. You guys know what to do. So, and they're getting better at it. That sometimes if I'm traveling or somewhere else, they'll like, hey, look, we went to the gym. Like, there you go. That's what I like to hear. I don't want you to be like, oh no, we haven't gone to the gym in a week because you weren't here. Like, what? No, that's not it. You know, I was like, gotta get moving. Now, let me ask you this. So Clarissa, that got me really intrigued from your where you were saying before as well. Like, I know something that you talked about earlier. I was like, hey, the gym, you know, getting more confident of yourself and so forth, which I thought was pretty cool because I totally relate. What would you say, let's say, your mindset around, let's say, self-worth or identity has evolved as you've grown in your own fitness journey? Not sure if maybe as younger you ever had any trouble with like self-worth or identity. You're always pretty confident, or how that's shifted for you as you got more into the gym.
So, not trying to like get dark on you guys over here, but I always had like a low self-esteem, like no confidence. I was always like the bigger sister or compared, like you shouldn't wear that because you look big, or that makes you look skinny, which is like a backhand, comment. It's always been like that my whole life, living with like my sister and living with my parents. I was always compared to her because, she was she's a stick, she's probably only 90 pounds and she's like 22 years old. So like she's tiny. I was always the bigger girl. So like when I got into the gym, I got a lot of, hate on that. And they're like, she always goes to the gym, or like they always be like, well, you're going to the gym, but you don't look like it. So I was like, really? Well, just wait. In 6 months, you're gonna be able to tell. You're gonna be able, like, all this work I'm putting in, you're gonna see later on. And over time, their comments kind of stopped. It's always like, she probably can't go to this because she'll be at the gym, or she can't eat that because she works out. Like, it never stopped, but I just kind of like tuned it out. Like, I was like, they're gonna make the comments regardless. I could be on a magazine and I could, be sponsored by Gymshark. I'm already with, A and Subs, but nothing will be good enough for them, I realized. Like, they're never going to be happy. So at the end of the day, it's a matter about my happiness, what I think about myself. So I stopped listening to them. Like, they're going to hate on me regardless. And it really didn't like click until I moved out of the house. Like, you can't really get rid of those toxic thoughts until you take yourself out of the environment. So when I moved out, my mental health, went up, my confidence in the gym went up because I didn't hear the comments nonstop, and if they say something, I just brush it up. I don't acknowledge it. Silence is the best answer, and they hate that. They want a reaction, so you don't give it to them. And definitely, taking myself out of the environment, I got the confidence. I would look at myself in the mirror and I would be happy. And I don't have to worry about the comments that they're making when I walk in through the door, or, if it's summertime, like, oh, you shouldn't wear that. You have to tune it out. You can't listen to the haters. There's always going to be haters. They're always going to be talking behind your back, but let them talk about you behind your back because there's a reason why they're behind you and they're not in front of you.
Well said, well said. Speaking facts right there. What would you say was your, let's say, for lack of a better way to describe it, your, how would I say this? Your like your action, your skill set. I'm not sure of the right word. It's not coming to my mind. But what would you say what was your main thing that truly helped you actually ignore those comments? Like you said, they want a reaction. And I know I've been in myself before. Now I've gotten better at it. It was like you said, silence is the best answer. There's actually this famous proverbs that I really like, that is like, uh a fool who stays quiet is actually considered wise. There's actually little, and that really hit me. It's like, hey, you could still be like foolish, but like if you're like you said, sometimes the best treatment, you're actually considered wise. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I 100% agree with you. Like, silence sometimes is the best answer, like whatever. But how were you actually able to manage that? Because I mean, it's so easy to just quickly get defensive, or quickly, let's say, like try to like shut them down, where you said like the more mature person, the higher person, which is like, whatever, who cares, like. Yeah. But it gets hard, in my opinion. And the more you do it, it gets easier. But initially, it's hard to actually do that. And how were you able to get to that point?
I definitely distanced myself. So moving out helped, not going and spending time, a lot of time with them. Summer months, I kind of like avoided them because I knew like summertime you wear less clothes, they're gonna see more, you're not all bundled up in layers. I started telling them less about my life and gave them the bare minimum. And it does take a lot of self-control. You kind of have to like bite your tongue. What I did, I would just like look at them and I would just walk away. Or I would ignore their, like if they said, two things, asked a question and said like a comment, I would just answer their question. Like I just totally ignored it, act like didn't say anything. And if they're like, you're not going to say anything about this? And I'm just be like, no. And they realized like I'm not going to feed into it. And, they didn't like that. And, they got ballsy a couple times when, I brought my fiance around and he just looked at him and was silent too. Like he has the same mindset, like silence is the best answer. People hate that. And he honestly, when he makes comments, like they'll make comments about me in front of him. Like they're ballsy, they're bold. And
Wow.
we just distance ourselves from them. If they say stuff when we're there, we just, look at them and make them feel uncomfortable. Or we just try to take the high road. There's no point, it's not an eye for an eye type of thing. Cause, if you make a comment, you're just like them.
You're hitting like you're like super spot on because like again I relate to that a lot because same thing. Now, what would you say therefore to people who are hearing that? Because other people's reaction would be like, oh, like how does your fiance not say anything? Like, oh, he's not standing up for you, or like, that means both of you guys are, let's say some people might react to, oh, you guys are being weak, staying quiet, like, or things of that sort. Like, what would be your response to that? Because I'm in totally agreement with you. That is the best way to do it. Just stay quiet, move on. You're not gonna let other people's comments control your emotions. If you do, you're letting them control you, and you're not gonna let anyone else control you but yourself. So I'm a totally spot on. But I know there are people who they hear that and they're like, oh no, you're just being weak. You're just being like getting run over, etc., letting other people like tear you down. What would be your response to that?
There's a time and a place for reaction. And most of the time when people give you hate, it's because they're not happy with themselves. They're jealous. They envy you. They can't do what you're doing. So like, it's just, that comes from a place that they're not happy with themselves. And, you kind of have to take the high road. You're not being weak. You're actually stronger than them. You have those traits that they don't have. Like they're looking at you and they're jealous. They see something that they don't have and they may not ever have. And it's kind of like that with my family. Like they don't work out, they don't do any physical activity. They just eat junk food a lot. And when I'm over there, I have self-discipline. I don't eat their junk food. And if they make comments, I let them make comments, and you just learn not to say anything. And I feel like they're slowly realizing and they stopped inviting us over more because we're not feeding into it. And, it's all easy to talk shit on the phone, but like in person, it's one thing. And then, on the phone, it's another. Like on the phone, it's easy. You just don't answer. But in
Mm.
person, it's definitely self control, biting the tongue, not saying anything and not feeding into it because like they're going to think about what they said later on and be like, why didn't she react? Like you're living in their head rent free and you're just not reacting, you're not responding. And it's hard. Like I'm not saying it's easy not responding. Like it's so much easier to stand up for yourself. But like comments like that and hate, like they don't deserve your time. They shouldn't get your time. Put your time and your words and your thoughts into something else more important. So they're just unhappy and they may never be happy because they need to find their happiness within.
Facts, facts. Yeah, no, it's like never let your worth be determined by someone else, regardless. Even if it's someone, let's say, close to you that you would think would treat you better, but sometimes those are the ones that actually, unfortunately, hurt you the most because they're that close to you, right?
Exactly.
And yeah, you're spot on. Don't let your worth or opinion, I mean, sorry, don't let your worth or value be determined by someone else. Value yourself for who you are, your own identity, your own purpose. That's what really matters.
You have to protect
I'm a big
yourself.
fan of Gary Vee. Yep, exactly, exactly. Like I'm a big fan of Gary Vee, and one thing that he says a lot is in his content is like, hey, people are always gonna hate. Who cares if they're hating? If they're hating, imagine like, especially let's say through social media. He does it from a social media perspective, but it applies in all life. It's like, imagine someone like you have no idea who that person is, and is like doing hate comments on your post. Like, how sad or broken must that person be to be spreading hate to other people that they never even met? I feel bad for that person. I'm not mad at that person. I feel bad for him because God knows
Yeah.
what they're going in their life. So kind of like what you said, like, hey, ultimately, if people are gonna hate you, we probably both heard this saying, is like, someone doing better than you is never gonna be hating on you. is always either the people, like you said, hey, they're standing behind you. They're looking your back for a reason because they're behind you. You know, those are the people usually
Yeah.
that are hating on you, not the ones doing better because they've been through the same probably situation that you've been through and they know how hard it was to get, so they're not going to be hating. So you're spot on there. And I mean, it's like you're hitting the nail on the head. But for sure. Now, let me ask you this. You're loving the conversation from the mindset, the gym, fitness, and everything. Now, let's talk a little bit of some like ambition, some goals, some dreams, you know, which is, I think, was super cool. As you mentioned, you're already an ambassador with AN Subs, which is super awesome. I know you have the dreams to become a Gymshark athlete and, you know, rooting for you, make that happen. What would you say on those, like, what would that mean for you personally? Like, hey, becoming a Gymshark athlete, what's, let's say, your why behind that?
I think my why would be like, not like, "Ooh, I gotta be a Gymshark athlete." Like, it's not like that. To me, it's more personal. It's deep down like, "Look, I did this on my own," you know? All my progress, all my growth, every single time I walked into that gym when I didn't want to, it all adds up to this. And I just feel like there needs to be better representation of females in the gym industry. I just feel like, again, not hating or anything. It's just like you have, I guess, look at a fitness competition. You have people who, do steroids and do drugs and like kind of cheat their way to success. And you have people who are natural, and kudos to them. You put in the work. You should be proud of that. And, it's all, fake butts and boobs. And it's like, we need a better representation of, females in the industry, like putting in the work, putting in the time, all the blood, sweat, tears, calluses, hand rips. It all adds up to it. Me, it'd be more of a like, I did this on my own. Like, I didn't have help. I put in the work. I, meal prepped all my food from, this point on. I lifted that heavy weights, and, just being recognized and represented by, an amazing gym, athletic wear company would be huge because they do their Gymshark, athlete search, usually in January. And I think it's incredible, like everyone coming together in the gym community, and they are rooting for people. Like everyone wants to be a Gymshark athlete. Everyone wants to have, recognition from companies, whether it's energy drinks or supplements or athletic wear. Everyone wants that, but are people actually doing anything to earn it and put work in, or they just want to be a pretty face for them? And
Exactly.
I just feel like I would be a good representation. I'm not trying to, be selfish or, think of me like, oh, I'm perfect. Like, I'm not perfect. I have, mess up days. I have cheat days. And I just feel like I'm a real version of what people are in the gym community. I'm not, fake. I'm not, if I was a guy, I wouldn't be like a meathead. Like, I'm just normal. I'm me. I'm imperfect. And I feel like that needs to be represented more.
I love that. Then that's spot on. Yeah, I mean, same thing. I mean, we're on socials all the time, and you know, seeing different comments of different posts that pop up, this and that. There's no doubt about it. How there's probably social media has really twisted people's views of what like fit body looks like. Like you said, sometimes with like either steroids and this, it can totally like alter people's perspective. Like, hey, that's probably not like a real natural body, like fit body, because hey, that person may be using steroids or this and that, you know. I remember seeing this one post that I think it went pretty viral. I don't know if you saw it on your feed, but it was like a guy, he's like, after like I don't know how many years of lifting, 10, 15 years, and it was like a fit body. But all the comments were like, damn, 10 years for what? Or 15 years, all that, 15 years for that. Like, man, you must have not been training well or this and that. And he just posted that as proof to like show like years ago or whenever that would have been considered a fit body, like yeah, that guy's fit. But you know, now with social media and this and that, like all the comments were like basically hating on him, like hey, all those years of training for what? You're not training hard enough, or like hey, do better, you know. All the comments were like just like roasting him in a sense. And just like you're saying, you know, there's definitely I guess you could say a
Altered
misconception in the
representation.
fitness space of what fitness really means. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And nowadays also you've probably seen it as well, as like, you know, with so many filters or edits you can do, like you were saying, like you can alter how your waist looks or specific angles or this and that. That I've seen in videos myself as like of like fitness women also, that, you know, promoting more of like that real fitness body in a sense, where they're like, hey, a body that looks like this and they'll do a specific angle,
Yeah.
but also looks like this. And it's like a normal, it's like, hey, and then and you see the comments like, hey, thank you so much for sharing this. And you see sometimes comments, hey, I always had self-doubt of my body, this and that, but seeing your comment, like, wow, you know, and it's just so true. Like, hey, that's a real fit body. Like, don't get it all let's say misinterpreted or confused, so that's cool that you're ultimately going for like that goal behind it is like, hey, rooting for you, may you achieve it for sure, may God help you make it happen. Because I would definitely say, it's good to have more, let's say, as we like to say here, God Gym Grind unfiltered, more of like that unfiltered, more of that raw real content. And so people can see what's really like versus maybe not a real representation of it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Would you say within, let's say, your platform, like your socials, how would you say, based off of what you were saying there, how would you say you're trying to use your platform or are using your platforms to maybe like help inspire and impact others that are also going through their own grind, their own fitness journey, and related it back to what you were saying of like that real fitness in a sense?
Yeah, so I have only had a fitness page. I don't think I've had it for that long. I may have created it a while back, but I really wasn't utilizing it. And then I really wasn't until like last year when Gymshark did their search. I was like, you know what? Like, let's use this as an accountability check. Let's use this as like my progress, like where I can, go back and see how far I came. And now it's kind of like I'm using it as like, this is me. You're not gonna get a different version of me. So there may be unflattering angles on there. There may be like my muscles don't look good in that picture, but I'm not gonna like not post it because it doesn't look as big as my other pump. I try to post videos and I'm not just even like take a selfie in the mirror. I went to the gym. Like I'm trying to make more content and be creative with it, with videos, with pictures, trying to be like open, like these are my goals. And I think on January 1st, I was like, these are my goals for the year. And I'm gonna, look back on December 31st and be like, what did I achieve? What didn't I do? It's not, if I don't do something, it's not, oh, let's take it off the list. It's not realistic. It's no, it stays on the list and we're gonna try again. We're trying to go like dye free in our home. So I've been, posting like helpful educational tools too. So it's not just educational. I also do like inspirational quotes, or if, people post something, I'm like, that resonated with me. It probably will resonate with somebody else. So I'll share quotes, grocery hauls, like this is what I'm eating. Like, yeah, you may see some junk food in that, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to put it in like the big picture of my haul. Like, no, this is real. So I try to be very authentic. I try to be me. I don't try to be like, well, let's not post that because it doesn't look good. It's not aesthetically pleasing when you look at my page. Like, no, my page is my page. And if you don't want to see it, then don't go on my page.
I like that. That's so spot on. Yeah, just post what's real to you. And I've been in that same situation too, where it's like maybe you're kind of overthinking it, but like, hey, who cares? It's like just post it. That's how what it actually looks like. That's what it is. It is what it is in a
Yeah.
sense. So it's like no reason to like not post it. And like people, I would say people definitely relate more to that real content, like relatable. Like, hey, look, this is what I'm going through. This is what I've been doing. Like, and this is it. No fancy lighting, no fancy poses or
Yeah.
angles, just me, like unfiltered, hitting the gym, working out, putting in the work, and that's that.
Absolutely.
One thing that caught my eye too, Clarissa, that you said, which was super cool in the form, is like, hey, I'm not a professional, but I know exactly what I'm doing on my journey. And I really like that, what you said. So like talk to me about that. Like say someone who let's say isn't in like maybe the industry standards or this and that, maybe not considered a professional, But but obviously you clearly live the lifestyle for sure. What would you say to someone who maybe just like started, who feels they're maybe they don't belong yet or a little hesitant on their fitness journey? What would you say to someone on that regard? So like maybe they feel like they don't fit, I don't belong here, this isn't my place, but like just do it. What was your advice to them on that?
There's a home for everybody in the gym. There's always a machine that's open, and don't get discouraged because you compare yourself. But the moment you start comparing yourself, you lost. Like I may not look like you can line up 5 gym girls in a row. We all are gonna look different. You know, there's genetics that play a role. People are different heights, people are different weights, people carry their weight differently. Short girls versus girls with longer legs. Like our bodies are gonna look differently. hitting legs is going to be different. You may get muscles in your thighs. You may be quad dominant. You may be glute dominant, you know, and it's also like you see girls and they're like, oh my gosh, their butt looks good. Well, are they hiking their leggings up their butt? Are they, you know, doing stuff to make their appearance look different? Whereas it's like, I just put my gym clothes on and go. If my leggings look a certain way, like I'm not doing it on purpose, you know? And like real people, like they're not all like muscle and tone. Like real people have skin rolls. Real people have cellulite. You may see that in shorts. You may see that in
Yes.
leggings. People may have more skin on their arms. Like, do not discourage yourself. Do not compare yourself. Everyone is at a different stage in their gym journey going to the gym. I could step foot in the gym and you could step foot in the gym and I will not hate. I will not judge you. The fact that you're going to the gym when there's people who don't even go to the gym, that says a lot. That's huge. And I'm the type of person, if you come up to me, I will help you. I'm not going to hate on you. Everyone's beginners. I mean, I think it's always cute when you have like little old people and they're like, how does this machine work? And like, I use it as like an education thing. Like, I try to teach them. And I mean, I seen like a little girl at the gym the other day, and God bless her soul. Like, I'm glad she was in the gym and she was trying to take that initiative to, you know, better herself. Like, she could not have been more than 10 years old. And it's definitely on the bigger side. And I was like, go for you. Like, good for you. And, you know, she didn't know how to use something. And I kind of looked at her and like, she like looked at me, but I didn't want to approach her and scare her, you know, because she was younger, but like her mom did come by and like show her how to use it. But if her mom didn't come by, I would have happily went over there and like helped her. And yeah, the biggest thing is do not compare yourself to anybody. We're all at different stages. There could be some people who are, you know, in prep and they're going to compete. There's some people that are in their bulk stage. And then there's people that are just going there. They don't care what they look like. And they're just happy to be at the gym. And they're trying to better their health and live longer and be happy. And everyone has a different purpose in the gym and a different reason why they walk in those doors. So do not compare.
100%. I love that's the something I'm always telling myself too as well, because it's so easy to fall in the trap. Like, damn, this person looks awesome. It's like, damn, I wish I'd be like, hey, don't compare. Like, we all have our own journeys. We all have our own process. Like, just do you. Like, then that's something I consistently am reminding myself too. Hey, don't compare, don't compare, don't compare. And not just in like fitness, but like in anything, let's say either social media content or style of edits, or let's say business or this. Hey, don't compare, you know, just focus on the plan God has for me and just walk there and just keep chugging along my path and like not get distracted or sidetracked. You could get ideas, you could get inspiration, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, 1,000% don't compare yourself. Like, oh, I want to be like this person. Like, be yourself. Get ideas from them, certain techniques, certain training methods, or this and that. Sure, 100%. That's how we all learn. But don't try to be like anyone else. Be yourself, right? I think that's.
Exactly.
I love the message you're saying there. Sure.
Don't hate, don't judge, don't
And that's so
compare.
cool with the.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Don't be afraid to compliment people either. Ask questions if you're like, what is that hitting? Don't be afraid to ask questions and compliment. Like, it's kind of like pay it forward. Like, you're going to compliment somebody, but like, it's going to happen to you one day too. It's a continuous cycle. Just put out positive energy in the gym and it will come back to you.
Have you ever had the like random comment? Have you ever had the situation where maybe you did compliment someone in the gym and then it was kind of like awkward after? You're like, okay, well, that was weird. But anyways, I'm gonna just continue doing my workout, or no?
I definitely read vibes. If I get weird vibes or like they're probably gonna look at me a certain way, I'm gonna not. Like, I keep it to myself. But if like if that person's talking to everybody and they're, you know, chit-chatting and they're very like open and you can basically tell on people's like body mannerism, I'll go up to them and I'll talk to them and we end up having good conversations. But I kind of read the situation, you know, if they're like, I'm here to work out, don't talk to me type of thing, I won't. Or, you know, the best time is in the locker room because, you know, like they're about to work out or they just worked out, you know, don't interrupt their workout, but, you know, read the room, read the situation and read the vibes.
100%. Yeah. The reason I mentioned that is it happened to me once. They were like they were in the rest. Like, so I wasn't interrupting them mid set or anything. They were like resting from a set. They were in squats. And it was like a little, like you could say she was on her weight loss journey, like a little late. It was like a lady. It wasn't even like a young person. It was like a lady, like maybe in her 40s or something, slightly a little chubby. So I was like, okay, good to know. So from what I noticed, people doing squats, they tend to not really go full depth, right? Sometimes they
Yes.
go kind of like halfway or this and that. What really surprised me, she had some decent weight on and she was going all the way down. I'm like, oh snap, that's like amazing form, you know, like because I'm even looking at other people in the gym that were also doing squats there, and like even like fit people, and but they weren't necessarily going all the way down. They were maybe like half reps or something, right? And I've always been the type like, no, like just try to go as deep as you can. So in her like her break, I was like, hey, that's a super awesome form. You know, most people don't go all the way down. So kudos to you. That's like all they said. And she just looked at me like I said it in Spanish because she could tell she was like a Spanish speaker. Like, you know, my gym is like a mixture of like Hispanics and like English speakers, like a mixture of everyone there. So and she just looked at me. She just looked at me with a face, and I'm like, okay, well, anyways, back to my set. It was like kind of weird, and I looked at my sister. My sister's with me. She works out with me, and she's like, that was weird. I was like, right? I was like, I was just complimenting her, like super dope. But anyways, off we go, because she just like nodded her head or whatever. I'm like, okay. So it just when you said a compliment, that was like the little funny scenario that popped in my head. It's like, hey, have you ever had any like awkward moments? Because I was kind of like a little awkward then. Looking at it now is kind of funny, but it was just kind of like just something that popped in my
And maybe
head.
it wasn't you. Maybe it was she never got a compliment before and she doesn't get compliments a lot and she doesn't know how to process it or handle it. And she kind of was like surprised and caught off guard. And that's kind of why she was like,
Yeah, yeah. You know, that was like, you know what? I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna assume that, and then off we go. You know, but hey, at least I said it. I felt good about myself. I complimented someone. You know, cause same thing. I was like, let me try to get out of my comfort zone myself, and like if I see someone worthy of a compliment, you know, I'm not gonna go just around complimenting everyone, yo, you know, but like if I see something like, well, that's some crazy good form, or like, yo, that's some good like a good weight, like, hey, super dope, you know, etc. But yeah, no, I mean, hey, you know, you get out of your own comfort zone, and then if you planted a little positive seed in someone, that's all that matters, right? Now, Clarissa, as we're coming up for a wrap here, it's been awesome having you here as a guest, and again, thank you so much for being on. I always like to finish, you know, the podcast, you're asking like a little final question, like a little more reflective question. And so I would say to you, let's say, when you think about who you were before your fitness journey began and who you are now, what would you say would be the biggest transformation you've experienced beyond just like your physical transformation as well? And what would be like the biggest, let's say, takeaway you would want someone to take away from your story?
I feel like I am the best version of myself. I am a better person than I was yesterday and when I first started my journey. It's one of those you just trust the process and you'll be happy with the results. If you're making those positive changes, you're not going to get negative results. So don't give up. I mean, you have to, put in the work and results will show. Like, do you for you. Like, don't do it for anybody else. Do it for your happiness, do it for your health, and do it for your well being.
Well said, well said. And you guys heard that here first on the G3X podcast with our special guest today, Clarissa. Thank you so much for being here. Clarissa, if the audience wanted to find you on social, what platforms are you on? Where could they give you a follow, support your journey?
My fitness page is on Instagram. It's Issa Fitness, so it's just like the last half of my name, so ISSA with a bit like with an X and then fitness. It's public. Feel free to follow. You'll see my whole health journey. I know we didn't even go into depth with that, but in 22, I had 9 surgeries in 1 year, so like that was a huge hurdle. So you'll be able to see, you'll see multiple transformations. I've had a lot of time off from surgeries and I had to take time off from the gym. So you're going to see multiple different transformations, but like I'm back and I'm ready to get more, get those gains and I'm hungry for growth and my goals of, competing one day. So you'll see it, my whole journey and I'm ready.
Right, so we'll definitely have to do that in a part two to talk about that as well, then for sure, because I know that could be super, helpful for people. That's awesome. I wasn't even aware of that myself, actually. So now I'm like, dang, we should have talked about that in the podcast. Oh man, but we're definitely then gotta do a part two for sure on that. But again, to the audience listening, her Instagram, I'll put it in the description below. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, her link should be there in the description. So give it a pause, give her a follow, social support. And as always, the G3X podcast, new episodes every Friday at 10 a.m. Feel free to check out our website if you're into that God Gym Grind lifestyle and any of the merch we have. Follow us on our socials as well whenever we drop a new episode or new content on our socials. Always, again, new episodes every Friday. And until the next time, and as we like to say here at the podcast, God Gym Grind Unfiltered, put God first, hit the gym, and whatever life throws at you, grind it out. Until the next time, everyone, peace out.